Alright, hopefully now you guys can hear me, because before there wasn't any audio. So, let me just do this real quick and then we'll get started. Just 1 second. Okay, new setup in fume extractor. Fume extractor, yes, that's down here. Is my stream running at like 2 frames a second? Let me see. No. Okay. So, no. Fume extractor's right here, new, doesn't set off the smoke alarm, it's quiet. Compared to how it used to sound, this is what it sounds like now. Well, it's not plugged in, but it should be much quieter. And the setup isn't new, there's just a different camera up there. Not a different camera, but soon the streaming will be a whole lot smoother and in 1080p or 4K, whatever I can get. Because the desktop that runs the stream right now, it's running 4K and has a lousy video card that has to run off 240 watts and be half height. So, it's pretty lousy. It doesn't run the stream good, but I'm going to be streaming off of my ThinkPad next time. That's not going to be running off of the, not running 4K, and it's going to have a quad-core, 8-thread Haswell i7 that should do really nicely. Video output low. Is it really? Yeah, it is. Why is it that low? Alright, let me try and figure this out. It's saying drop frame 0, CPU 57%, 30 frames. I don't see what the problem is. Let me see real quick. Yeah, video output low. It looks good from this angle though, but it's not. Seems okay there. Let me look on this computer. Yeah, it seems okay here, so no, we're fine. Alright, just the it's not 100% smooth because of the video card and 4K issues. So, first board on the pile tonight. This is we're pretty much going over the nasty repairs at the end of my pile that I said later on, and I will come back later to them. So this board right here is missing PM Sleep S4L. It had corrosion by the CPU and the chip that was needed. The post office took like a week almost. Well, they took a long time to get it 60 miles, and that was ridiculous. Let's see. Hi Aaron, hi Tony, Joshua. So, alright. So this is a 820000138. We had some corrosion by U7330 right here. And I redid the area. It looks really lousy because the ultrasonic cleaner is not doing a good job because I haven't changed the water since December. Probably. I don't know. Now, this wasn't shorted, so anytime you get a MOSFET like this that's shorted, you replace all 3 of them. So you want to replace all 3 plus the buck controller IC, because or else you're going to replace one that's going to screw it up. This wasn't shorted, but here's my real concern. If we look over here to where my power supply is, right? See the power supply right here? So So let me put about a volt on it, right? So a volt. Now, do not do what I'm doing unless you know what you're doing on a V-core circuit. CPUs do not like power rammed into them, but for this it'll be alright. You could use small amounts of power, and that's fine. And the only time, if you measure with your meter, it's going to beep. Of course it's going to beep because that's the, it has a low resistance to ground. So what I do is see how much power the CPU is using. So what I'll do is plug in, so typical V-core is going to be like 1.8 volts, but we don't want to put that on there. So what I'm just going to do is just solder a little wire right here. You can see I've already been messing around over here because I deemed this worthy for the bottom of the pile, and I didn't want to deal with it. Come on, melt. Get it higher than 640. Whatever, for testing this is fine. So I'm going to put a wire there and a ground wire, and we're going to turn on the power supply, and we're going to notice that the amp draw, you can't see that, it's 3 amps on the CPU alone at 1.0 volts. Now let's say let's turn it up to 1.2 volts, right, or let's say even 1.3 volts is fine for a CPU. Measure again, and it's pulling 5 amps on the CPU alone. So we feel around in V-core area, nothing really gets hot, the MOSFETs don't get hot, the CPU doesn't get hot. So what in the world is wrong? Now here's another thing to watch. Typically when I get a big short, like something on PP bus G3 hot that's shorted, it takes my voltage and it drops it way down to like point something. This is not dropping it like it should. So I'm thinking, well, maybe the CPU is okay. Maybe the power management or something causes it to use less amperage when it's on because my voltage isn't dropping through the roof. So I think there's a chance that this is salvageable. A slight chance that this is salvageable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on a new U7330 since it was corroded. I don't think it was causing our issue. Now another thing, when this board would get V-core, I would get a fan spin and then it would shut off. Okay, so the fan would spin and then it would shut off. And one thing to note, I had V-core. I had 1 point something volts. This wire is going to be miserable to take off. I had 1.6 volts of V-core, so I know the circuit's working, and if the CPU is shorted, I don't even think I would have gotten that. So it doesn't have to look pretty. We'll fix that later. I'm not gonna leave it like that. So what my guess is, a quarter fan spin, now it's missing PM Sleep S4L. Now let's see, PM Sleep S4L missing. In short, what missing PM Sleep S4L means, just means it's not turning on. That's all it means. You know, a lot of people see the videos and they get scared, well, missing PM Sleep S4L is this? No, it's just not turning on. It doesn't want to turn on. So we're going to watch this for a second, because sometimes I would get an intermittent fan spin. It would spin for like 5 seconds, then shut off. So what that tells me, let's see. Hakko's Tech. Yeah, slight chance is a chance. So see, the fan is not spinning, so what I'm guessing is maybe our MOSFET survived. Let's measure PP bus G3 hot. Hey, look at that! A fan spin, see that? There's hope for this. Let's see, or did it just fix itself? Okay, there's hope for this board. There's hope for this board. We're gonna fix this. There's hope for this. So there is a problem. If our CPU is that destroyed, I don't think this would work like that. So that's weird though. So something's preventing it from doing this. And here's another test. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but what I found when they do something like that, or you measure something and they work, what you're gonna want to do is just on certain areas of the board hit it, because there could be a corroded trace somewhere. And by doing that, like let's say around our clock area right here, if there's a corroded trace, the vibration will make it work again, but in this case it doesn't. So sometimes you'll be measuring around on the board, put pressure on an area of the board, and you'll notice it's going to work. Well, try and tap the area that you think the problem is, or give the board a few good slaps like that, and see if it works. Then narrow it down to where it is. So let's plug it in again. So now we know our issue is just not turning on. So when I think of just now it works. Now the thing works. Okay, let's see if it boots into an operating system now. The thing works, it fixed itself. So 00138 will do that behavior when a known good battery isn't plugged in. So let's plug this thing in and let's see what it does. It's probably going to do nothing because I plug it in. Or it's going to boot and work. So what I'm thinking is something is going wrong in power good. So sometimes power good is working, it's sending that signal for power good, and sometimes it's not. Since what PM Sleep S4L, like I said, it's basically just not turning on. When we're missing Sleep S4L, all it means it's just not turning on, nothing else. But the question is, why is it not turning on? If it's truly missing, there's a couple reasons why that could be missing. It could be missing because it's missing a signal required to get it, like some power good signals can cause that. Literally numerous things can cause it. In this case, I'm thinking it's more power good. I'm thinking U7200 isn't sending out the CPU power good signal once in a while. Okay, this is fine. We're just going to plug in the screen connector. Hopefully I don't break it. These retinas are annoying for the cable. Alright, so the screen connector is plugged in. Here goes battery. It's probably not going to work. The battery is going to be dead. And let's see if when the fan spins, what do we get on the screen? So, let's plug it in. We get a fan spin. Let's give it a minute, because remember that fan spin, it took a few minutes last time. So let's watch that fan, let's see if it spins. Of course not. Alright, so there's something wrong here, obviously. Let's try without the battery. Let's see if there's batteries giving us any voltage, because the battery did have water damage. Let's measure voltage. It's giving us 2 volts, so that tells me the battery is probably working and charging. Let's plug it in with a different charger, and let's read amp draw on the board if it's charging. So 0.45, 0.4. That tells me nothing. 0.4 tells me it's not charging. It tells me it's getting hung up somewhere. So with 0.04 amps, it's telling me it's getting hung up somewhere for some reason, but I don't know for what reason. So you can't really see that. It's right here. So let's pull the board out and let's go over power good signals, because let's try, let's say without the battery, let's compare amp draw. Alright, now I have no green light in my charger. Alright, now it's 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. And now it pulsed up to 0.45. So the board is doing stuff, but it's getting hung up somewhere. So there's this one signal. Unplug the screen so I don't rip it out. Rip the So missing PM Sleep S4L, it's not really missing it. I mean, it's not getting the signal to power up. It's not being told, it's okay, you can power up. So, you have S4, S5, whatever, but there's power good signals where it has to you know, to talk to the PCH or whatever and say, you know, okay, you're okay to turn on. You know, you're not going to blow up. You're not going to cause a problem. So let's have a look at the schematic now. Let me check chat real quick. Nothing really. All right, so let's go to open board view. And you know what? A lot of you guys haven't seen this yet, but the new open board view software is absolutely incredible. Okay. To minimize some load on my computer, I'm going to do this real quick. What in the world? Come on. Annoying. Alright, that's good enough. Alright. So, U7200 right here. So, if we look over here, we see we have all sys power good, right? We have CPU VRP good, power good. So that MOSFET could be bad or something could be wrong with it, and it could be telling us do not turn on. If we do not get CPU, power good, what we're gonna get is, you know, on errors U1950, a lot of times that chip loses the signal and then it won't turn on. It'll be missing PM sleep S4L from U1950 not sending out the CPU power good signal. So now the real question is let's see what this chip does on the schematic. Let's go over here, and the software is going to be already searched this for us. That's absolutely great. So we see we have CPU power good as out. Now my question is why, what is required for CPU power good to come out? Now let's say all sys power good, is that an input or an output? So all sys power good is what comes in, right, and that will trigger VR on, voltage regulators on, and that will come out from CPU power good. So if we're not getting anything, you know, past PM sleep S4L, it's not going to enable the voltage regulation. Now my thought is maybe somehow this chip and the corroded FET is somehow messing with, or it's going to pulse to a SO real quick, and then it's not going to get the power good signal and then go back to S5. That's what my guess is. So that's just one of my guesses. It's hitting SO and then immediately going right back. So what we're going to do is go ahead and change that MOSFET, and we're going to see if it works. It probably won't, so don't get your hopes up too high. But let's go ahead and give it a shot. How did I get the software? Did Paul Daniels release that yet? Nope, not yet. I don't have that software. You haven't seen anything. That software doesn't exist. Alright, now this chip is a pain to solder. I'm not even gonna lie to you. This chip right here is not a fun one to solder at all, but we're gonna do it. Don't screw it up unless you want an exploded CPU. But it's hard to solder because of the big pad. So we're just gonna look at orientation, see where that F is. It's kind of hard to screw up orientation on this chip, but it can happen. Now we have our new fume extractor right over that chip that we're not going to even know we're soldering. Wait, wrong chip. That's the chip we want. If not, it could be one of the caps that were damaged. I already changed all of them. Alright. Quick 861 BW, 130 Celsius, and max airflow. Go back over here. Ow, that was hot. Flux. Yes, there's the keyboard backlight connector right by it. If it melts, no big deal. I will replace it. Also, if you're doing this, please leave the heatsink on the CPU. Alright, let's get our... Yeah, you don't wanna get the CPU too hot. I mean, the resistance is already low enough as it is on this board. As far as I know, resistance, I could sound like a complete imbecile by saying this, but resistance, I noticed the chips that have been, gotten a lot of, a spike, but still work, their resistance to ground tends to be lower than those that have not. And also, heat over time, what I've noticed, let's say, what I want, if you have a dead board that, can't figure out what's wrong but has a good CPU, particularly the MacBook Air boards, like the 00165 or 00165 or the 3437, measure V-core resistance to ground, heat the chip up or something to like 400 Celsius, cool it down, and then measure resistance again, and you'll notice it will drop a considerable amount. Why that is, I don't know. I'm guessing it's doing something inside the chip. So I could conclude that the lower the resistance is to ground, there's something in that chip, or it just wasn't binned as close as the the other ones. Can't really judge too much off of that, but these MOSFETs, normally I would change all three of them plus the buck controller, but look at what, let me see, I can't see. Look at that giant pad. Yep. Notice my wick is getting stuck to it. That's why it's a pain to solder it and take it back off. Couldn't imagine someone with one of those blower and handle ones that thinks that they can do this. That looks good. It's gonna be tricky to put fresh solder on these pads, because you have to get, if you're not at like 840, it's just not gonna melt the solder right. But if you are at 840, it's gonna burn away the flux so quick that you're not gonna get a good joint either. So like that. This is part of a thermal pad if it is used. No, this isn't U7200, this is U7330. And we don't even have a board view for a 00138. There's a board view that says it's for a 00138, but it's really not. It's for a 3362. So, see what I mean, like right here? Let's try a different tip. Yeah, let's try a different tip. This one might do nice. This is actually the tip you sent me, Anthony. this one. The only thing with this tip is it's kind of big to do like QFN stuff, because to get into the pins, you'll knock the stuff off next to it. But like for stuff like this, it should be great. Like, let me see. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, bridge, I don't care about you. Yeah, if you look right here, I don't know if this will show up on camera, but you see how all these pads right here are connected to the same area? The same pad, and that pad goes to the CPU, and the CPU has a giant heatsink on it. I'd actually try lowering my temperature a little bit, because I don't want it to burn the solder or the flux away so quick, and the solder away. It's like if you get too hot, what you're going to notice is your tip isn't going to accept solder. And that's what's happening right now. The only thing with this is you just have to go slow. You know, someone's probably watching this and thinking, look, what an idiot, he can't solder a QFN package. Well, no, this one's just a pain right here. Thought the same thing. This one doesn't look bad. Yes, I know about the bridge on the capacitors. I'm not going to leave it. Put some fresh flux in there. Hi, Paul. I use 300 to 350 degrees Celsius. I'm at 840, now 740 Fahrenheit, so I don't know what that is in Celsius. So I'm gonna kind of turn it, because this has a really big thermal mass, right? Yeah, there we go, sort of. I need my bevel, I think. Oh shoot, look what I just did. Alright, yeah, I need my bevel. What does that do? Alright, I made a mess. What does that do? Alright, that is the pin right after ground. Oh, and that's a NC pad. No big deal. But let's change back to our bevel tip so I don't do that again. But even our J tip might work well. And there's probably someone laughing right now really hard. Yeah, it's an NC. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. It happens. This ground plane wasn't so. Yeah, the J-tip works pretty nice. out of here. Stupid bridge. Bye, bridge. Get out of here. Get. There we go. Alright. The J-tip's the best. Look at that. J-tip. J-tip all the way. I am. I'm sure. I haven't ripped a pad in so long. All those look good. Just need some right here. Okay, if this has taught me anything, it's stick with your J-tip, because the J-tip is simply incredible, and nothing. Yeah, we bridged it again. I don't care. Nothing else comes close to this J-tip. It's amazing. I'm still waiting for the you use too much Flux trolls to come. Micro knife is a good second. Yeah, but if you put a micro pencil on this, it's not even going to melt the solder. It's on a retina board with a huge ground plane, and it's not even going to touch the solder. Might put a scrape in it. There's no such thing, especially with the ultrasonic cleaner. True. Now, one thing I have noticed on ISLs, if you have flux on the ISL, it's going to not read the proper voltage, and it's not going to charge the battery. That looks good. Right there looks good. Could use a little more work over here. I use copper tips and they burn quickly at high temperature. By copper tips, are you using those ones that sleeve over the heating element? That looks decent, I think. No, maybe not. I want to. Yeah, the J-tip is incredible even when you turn it flat. I haven't used a tip yet that I wouldn't. ASMR madness. I don't know what that means. And if it still doesn't work, we're gonna swap U7200. The problem with all sys power good missing, it could be literally anything. It could be some random resistor corroded somewhere. It could be a bad PCH. It could be anything. Can you guys hear me okay on the audio? Because sometimes it's just lousy. This is a rabbit hole. Yep, definitely. This is a rabbit hole. Let's turn the temperature up. This has been a rabbit hole since last week, but you know what? I was thinking it was either at 1 a.m. last night. You know, I want to give this one another try. It's not done yet. I put too much solder here, and out of all QFN packages, this is one that you do not want to put too much solder on the middle pads unless you want a dead CPU. You just want enough. And I want to do a measurement now on V-core with that removed, because it was like 1 ohm before, which I don't really know, because some CPUs can be that low and not have a problem. Yeah, 1 ohm. Well, to be fair, you don't have a Jason or Paul. No, not yet. Alright, that should be good. Let's get a Q-tip. Let's clean that. Another thing is, when you're soldering, do not leave this old flux on there, because it tends not to work too well under heat, and you can bridge and stuff. So clean up the old stuff and put fresh down. Yeah, see how thick that is? You can't really trust that. Then we'll come back and clean all those caps off if it works. If it doesn't work, I don't care. Let's get this hair out of here. You don't belong on my board. Alright, here this goes. The flux. Let's get our fresh chip. Then we have a quarter fan spin, but that's depending on how tired I am. Alignment on this chip, it's not, I mean, you shouldn't have any problems soldering on this chip. 30 isn't going to do it airflow, so we're going to want to go like 70-ish, or let's do 60. Let's start at 65, then we'll adjust. I want to get the board nice and preheated. This isn't one that you want to push down on. I just want a little more flux. I can't tell if it's soldered all the way. There we go. Alright. Let's have a look. That's lousy. That's pretty lousy. But, will it work? Just want to make sure we're not shorted on anything. Yeah, it should be making contact. I'll come back and clean the pins, but I think it may indeed work. Let's see. Another thing I'm going to check, I want to make sure PP Bus G3 Hot is not shorting the V-core, because if it is, we screwed up. Test this before you try. Anytime you're doing V-core FETs, make sure you're not shorting PP Bus G3 Hot to V-core. If you are, stop right there, redo what you just did, because if you do, that CPU's a goner. In this case, we didn't. If we're not shorting PP Bus to V-core, we're not really going to kill anything. It might not work, but we're not going to kill anything. Alright. Alright, so I saw V-core pulse. Let me do it again. Let me measure, see if we're getting a pulse on that chip. We're getting V-core for a second, then it shuts off. So I wish you guys could see this in my meter. So I am getting V-core from phase 1, and then it shuts off. So that's coming from that chip, so that chip is working. I get V-core from phase 2 for a second. And I get V-core from phase 3 for a second. Okay, so it actually is hitting V-core, but it's shutting off right away. So something is screwing it up when it hits to SO. So I guess let's try. Do I even have that? You know what? Let me go back and check the soldering on this thing. I want it to line up better. It looks lousy. Yeah, that's not going to do. I'm going to go back and touch this up. The fact that it's hitting V-core kind of gives me hope. But it could very well be a shorted CPU too. So let's look up U73. Alright. It's going to be tricky because of the caps, but let's try this. Beep, hurry up, okay. But at least now I kind of know what's going on. It's pulsing. It's the equivalent of what quarter fan spin would be. We get a little pulse. Yeah, see, this is why I didn't want to touch this up. We're at 840 and it's not doing it. Alright, this is all ground. I could care less about ground. Yeah, see, this is why I can't use the tip. So let's do this. If you don't know what you're doing, do not do what I'm about to do, so. Especially on a CPU FET like this. Don't push it down like I'm about to do. Perfect. See, that's what I wanted. Okay, that's better. Now let's check again and see if we're shorting V-core to our 12-volt rail. And we are not. Or we are. Not on that side of the coil. No, we're good. Alright. Let's just clean up that little solder ball. Right here. This chip I generally don't like to push down like that just because of the pads in the center. You don't want them to combine and then you'll screw it up. How do you check PB Best to V-Core? You just diode mode and alright. Let's power this thing on again. Let's see what we get. So we know we're getting a pulse. We're pulsing. But are we getting a fan spin? The thing that the pulsing tells me that it's actually it's the V-Core circuit's working. Let's give it a minute. Haven't lost hope just yet. Alright, I think I know what's going on. So, like, prior, it hit V-Core. We had V-Core, but it just didn't kick, it didn't kick over. So, we either have a shorted CPU, which is a great possibility, or we have an issue with U7200. The problem with U7200 is I don't know if I have this chip here. No, that's the 6259. U7200's over here. So, what are you? Hang on just 1 second. I don't want to blame U7200 just yet. Let's go over here. I'm going to look at the schematic for a second. Let's see. An ISL 95826 AHRTZ. Yeah. I'm not going to have that here, I don't think. This one uses a Maxim. Shoe Rubber U8900, isn't it? Okay, this is one of Apple's refurbished boards. Check this out. This I just took the piece of shoe rubber off to look at this. So this was the piece of shoe rubber, right? Right there. I just took it off. So I'm not lying about it being there. This is one of Apple's refurb boards. Look at these pins. Look at how lousy those look. This is Apple's refurbishing. At least I think it is. Look at how lousy that is. Give me a break. Look, here's one pin. You can't see it. Where is it? Where is it? It's not even soldered. Look at this. It's junk. Alright. What I see is this. That's not even help. Just count the pins. I don't think it's the right one anyway. Can't even see it. Let me get a different board. And this one has it stolen, of course. Let's look at it different right now. I think these are all, they're not going to use it though. 4924. Yeah, because these new boards use a completely different regulation circuit, so I couldn't see it having the same. This is a rough looking donor board. Oh, right here, ISL 95826. ISL 95826 AHRTZ. This will work. Cool. Alright, let's change you 7200. And if it doesn't work after that, then into the trash. Does Apple even try to rework the chip? If you saw the flux around it that I just showed you, that garbage, I do think they are trying to rework it, and that's what they end up with. They end up with that just disgusting garbage of a rework attempt. Now here's my clue. Here's one of my major clues. Right here there was corrosion. You could kind of see a little hint of corrosion left there. This is after ultrasonic cleaning. I'm thinking this chip might have got water at some time, but it just didn't, you know. So let's have a look at this. Remove the fume extractor back a little bit. The dot is at the top. This is the same position on both boards, so we're going to put flux around that chip, pull it off. This has already been ultrasonically cleaned too. I was hoping maybe it's corrosion under something, but no. Come on. So another thing I'm going to start doing locally is I'm going to finally start doing local business. It's not that I'm losing business in wholesale, it's going fine. I just want to start branching out to local. You know, you can never have more work. And part of that reason is I'm including Santa Clarita Valley in my service area, which is around 30 miles from me, and I'll have to drive there to pick up machines. I don't generally allow walk-ins, so what I plan on doing is meeting the customers, you know, a pick-up and drop-off service. And I've got set up for that. I got a ThinkPad Ultrabook that has, you know, touch screens. They could sign for stuff and stuff like that. And the reason why I'm doing in Santa Clarita area particularly is the Apple Store is there. They have a 3-star average review, and I know I could provide a much better service for customers over there, so that's what I plan to do. If you can't provide good service, I'm coming to that area, because I see it as an opportunity. If you can't provide good service at 5 stars, and I see that as a perfect opportunity. Read Apple Store Valencia, California. Read their reviews. It's like, big difference too is we actually fix stuff, not just send it away or tell them you know you need a new one. Yeah, the service at Apple stores is generally just terrible. Part of it is just their policies, you know? It's just, you know, buy a new one or pay us $900 to fix your old one, which is basically the same price as a new one. Another thing is they misdiagnose stuff too. I mean, I get stuff misdiagnosed. People say, well, you know, people will come to me and say, well, Apple told me I need a new motherboard. You know, this, it's like, you don't need a new motherboard. It's your trackpad cable. That's the most common thing on errors when they say, I need a new motherboard, my trackpad and keyboard doesn't work. And, no, it's most, you know, never the board. Of course, if it's liquid damage, it doesn't power on. That's fine, and I'm not answering my phone this late. Sorry. Alright, let's drop a new chip on. Where's my water? Here it is. Smoke detector is probably going to go off for this one because it's not under the fuel extractor. Come on, fall into place. There we go. Good enough for now. More flux. The chip isn't even close to being level. That's okay. Whenever you do QFNs, just tack solder it down, you know, with low airflow, and then move in with high airflow, high heat, and then you'll see it do that, right? Now it's in place, so now that the chip is in place, once the solder dries, push down on it, and do that. Wait for it to dry. I used to not wait, and then I would just mess up when I... And if this doesn't work, this is a rabbit hole. Well, no, it's already a rabbit hole, and it's been a rabbit hole, but, you know. Oh, come on. You get back down there. Seriously, come on. Stupid little capacitor. We'll make it pretty later. It's not going to matter any right here. Yeah, that looks fine. Alright, the moment of truth. Does this live again, or does it get sent back as a no fix? Will it explode? Will it work? What will it do? See, is it doing the same thing, the pulsing nonsense? It's too quick for me to catch. Nothing now, so that tells me maybe. Let's reflow that chip one more time. Maybe it's not soldered all the way. Maybe. And what is that capacitor that we kind of messed up do? Let's flip the board over. Yeah, this is it gonna matter? Let's look up. Let's look it up. Wait, go back. Yeah, that's might matter a little bit. Let's just give that chip a little reflow. Maybe it's not soldered 100% or not lined up 100%. No, it's soldered fine. So is that cap. Alright. Last attempt. Let's try one more time. Plug it in. Wait a sec, is my charger bad? Because we did get something on this one. Oh, if my charger was the whole cause of this, I would not be happy. No. So what's weird is when... Yeah, no. So it gets fan spin after a while. What would cause that? Random corrosion somewhere. I don't know. Let's see. Are we getting? Flip it over. Are we getting DSW power good? Let's see. What is that signal called? I forget. It's. PM DSW power good. Which is going to come pretty much, I think, from the SMC. It has a lot to do with clock and, well, no, actually I have no idea what it does. I'm just talking. So it's going to show up over here. Which I don't know if it's going to show up because this is not the right board view and this is the closest I have, so 34 of the SMC. This isn't even remotely close. Alright, so or is it? So I have this is close right here, so if I go over, I heard a fan spin, I think. If alright, it's going to be one of these resistors right here. And that's present. PM underscore PCH power OK. Is that present? If PM PCH power OK isn't present, where is it? U1950. Okay, U1950 is right here, and that's going to be that's not here. At least I don't think it. It's showing. Alright, so it's showing pin 3 going right there. PMS, all good. Alright. See, the board view, this just complicates things, so. Nothing from there. Nothing from there. Ah, so we're not getting anything from. What does pin 3 do? So we're getting nothing from pin 3, and that's SMC delayed power good. Now, where does this? So we're not getting anything on SMC delayed power good, and that could definitely cause our issue that we're having with no fan spin or anything. So where does that come from? Let's see. Yeah, that's 0. Is that a output of U1950? So, or is it an input? What is it? Where does it come from? So that's our next project, to figure out where SMC delayed power good comes from. Let's go back over here. Alright, so we have U1950 right here. We're missing this, obviously. So where is oh, it's an input. So we're missing SMC delayed power good, right? Let's see where it comes from. Whoa, what happened? Alright, it's going to come from a whole bunch of areas on the board. It's going to come from. This isn't going to matter much unless it's shorted. Is that shorted? Let's go over here. Maybe one of these FETs is shorted. Well, not shorted, but let's see. That's by DCN, right? No. It's this thing, I think. No. Again, no proper board view, so I have no idea. Go back over to U1950, and I'm thinking, since I didn't see any corrosion near the SMC, really, I think I'm just going to reflow it. It's not going to get any deader, you know. Maybe, just maybe, there's something under it that's preventing. Where is that stubborn U1950? Right here. Let's check for a short. Maybe U1950 is bad and shorting it internally. I don't know. Let's look right here. No short. Nothing. Alright. Let's have a look at the SMC area. I doubt it's going to be that though. But you never know. It is by the edge. It could have taken some liquid in. And we may not be seeing it. So remember, this already went through the ultrasonic cleaner, so maybe something's hiding. Don't see anything there. Maybe. I can't tell. Let's just reflow it. Stupid thing. Alright. I'm running out of ideas, but an SMC reflow doesn't sound too bad at this point. Screwdriver. Maybe, just maybe, it'll work. With SMC delayed power good being missing, who knows? Could be SMC related. Let me switch this back. Alright. Give me 1 second. The hole gets deeper, yep. I'm going to do a quick search on Lewis's forum. What's that signal called again? At least we know a little bit of what our issue is. Okay, so I just did a quick search on Lewis's forum. Sometimes I'll just Google and see what's going on. Basically, what it means is the CPU isn't talking to the SMC for the power good signals, and that could mean a dead CPU. It could mean a dead PCH. It could mean a dead SMC. It could mean a dead ROM. It could be a random resistor knocked off somewhere. Given the fact what our PCH is pulling, I mean our CPU vCore is pulling, I'm gonna count on it's a dead CPU. But let's, why not try RAM whatever this thing is, SMC reflow, and let's see if it works. But we did get DSW power good, so it means our CPU has to be doing something. Or this could just mean that it's just not turning on, meaning it's missing all rails. I don't know if that's going to pulse or what it's going to do, so. The thing with issues like this, it could be literally anything. It could be literally anything. It could be a resistor or trace somewhere. It could be a CPU. It could be a PCH. It could be ROM. So, you know, moving the fume extractor really close. Come on. Alright, here goes nothing. While we're waiting for this to cool down, if there's any other stores watching this that need logic board repair, head over to www.tcrscircuit.repair and you will find our website with our business-to-business service page with discounted rates for other repair stores. Alright, so the board is semi-cooled down. Let's try to power it on and see if it works. Which it won't, but yeah. The CPU is dead. Or it has corrosion under it. Yeah, this is hopeless. I give up. No fix. Alright, I spent a lot of time on this board and it's not going to work ever again. It's dead. Time for landfill. Or e-waste, whatever you want to call it. Don't delay, send your MacBooks today. Yeah, I need to come up with something like that because I'm tired and I'm not going to come up with that. Alright, so what next do we have? I have one that I want to work on, but it's not approved yet, so I can't touch it. Alright, so what does this one do? This is an 820-3115 that I think it had corrosion by the SMC. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, I just redid it. Well, I just refreshed it the other day. Check out the FAQ page. It's came up with it. I'm just looking for a DCM board right now. Oh, don't even tell me I put my test DCM boards in a package by mistake and sent them out. Oh wait, I see some. I see some DCM boards. There we go. Here's a DCM board. Now, what does this one do? Plug it in. Nope, that's a MagSafe 2. That's how you know you're getting tired when you plug a MagSafe 2 into a MagSafe 1 port. Get no green light in the charger. What's going on with you? Alright. So we get a green light in the charger, and the fan does not spin. Okay. So this is an 820-3115. Let's open a schematic for that. Actually, no, let's not open a schematic. Let's just go over basic troubleshooting. First thing we're going to check, let's not focus on looking at schematics, but let's focus on troubleshooting. I'm going to show you a few things to check without needing a schematic. So on these 820-3115 boards, it's 81278 from 2012. 2011 is pretty much the same thing. We see our PP bus G3 hot fuse with a lot of liquid in that area. Let's measure voltage right there. We get 12.57 volts on both sides. Okay, so no, that's not our issue. This here, the ISL area is corroded, looks horrible. But we have power, so that's not our issue. And it looks terrible, but we have the rail that's sending out, so that will be changed, of course. Another thing to check for is, are we power cycling? So PP5VSO. Yeah, so what the voltage is doing, it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, of course. And alright, so where do you start with this? I mean, this is our 5-volt supply. If this is going up and down, that could be our issue since it's not supplying out good voltage. Our keyboard, this is going to be needing replaced. Look at that. It's junk. Corroded. Whatever that is junk. Yeah, okay. So, I think I changed the clock chip on this one already. Yeah, I think I did. It looks clean. Yeah, I changed the clock chip already. This side of the board doesn't. And I think I replaced those guys. It's green over here. Alright, so here's where I'm going to start. So we're power cycling, I think. Let's double check. Let's see, it's an 820-3115. Or right here. So PP5VSO is what's cycling. Let's go to PP5VS5. Plug it in. Let's see if we get voltage on PP5VS5. Not. PP5 VS5 is cycling. Alright, let's see what... Alright, yeah, you see I was already doing a little bit of rework in this area because, you know, I just had to start somewhere and I started over here. Power cycling like this, it could be anything. I mean, the fact that we're getting our S5 rail just cycling tells me that that chip that's all corroded is probably working fine. I'm thinking more clock or something over here. Possibly CPU MVP 10, which is over here. This area, this doesn't look corroded though. It was more of these resistors that I already replaced. Let's just clean it up and have a look. Thank you, Chuck. I've had that site since January 1st. I rolled that out January 1st, or no, it was December 31st, but like at 11 o'clock because I was going to unveil it right at midnight, but I got tired and went to sleep, so. Yeah, that's the first site that I had that just wasn't absolutely terrible. Hey, what are you? Something should go where you are. And that's going to be stolen, so. What are you supposed to be? Yeah, this is important. Not really important, but it's a 0.1 UF. Let's find. Let me put a resistor or a capacitor. You don't want to put a resistor there. This isn't even important. I'm slowing down, it's getting tired, it's getting late, I'm getting tired, but I'm not stopping. Alright, so I just noticed something right here. That. Where does that go? That could be our whole issue. I don't know. Let's use our meter. I think that goes on the other side of the board. Let me look. I could use this donor board. Okay, so no, that's going to be 3v3 sus right there. That's going to be PP3v3 sus. Yep, okay. So, this going to the other side of the board, if this is corroded, this could be our whole issue right here. Right there. So, it looks corroded. Right? Ah, look at this right here. That's where it goes to the other side of the board for the PCH, I believe. Let's pull this off, heatsink off and everything. But if it's... Looks real lovely right here. Looks like rust. Yep, that's what that is. Looks 100% normal. Yeah, it's normal for an Apple product when you spill liquid on it. My ThinkPad has drainage holes. What does that tell you? If a computer has drainage holes. I think we found a clue right here, so this probe point looks terrible. Wow, look at that, it ate away at a good chunk of the board. Now what does this do? Is my question. I have no idea where this goes. No, I think that's just PP bus. So we're not going to worry too much about that right now. I'm more concerned about 3v3 sus. Let's just do a close look around the clock area. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those boards that's going to need like 10 wires. Do we have 3.3 on? One second. I wanted to plug the fan in just in case. Alright. Wanted to see if we have PP3v3. I mean PP, the one row for the clock, G3 hot. VRTC. Can't even remember off the top of my head because it's late. Ah, I found you. Right now I just found what's causing this issue. Okay, so check this out. Right? Oh wait, never mind, I measured on the wrong cap. I measured on the wrong cap. Yeah, our voltage is a little wiggly, but nothing too bad. Let's see. Okay, so let's troubleshoot our 3v3 sus issue. Let's look. We have all these caps over here are resistors. Let's see if we're getting voltage on them. if we're not getting voltage here, that would make me happy. Okay. Oh man, this is gonna suck. So the voltage is pulsing up and down. Are we getting that voltage over here to the BIOS? Are we getting that same pulsing voltage over to the BIOS area? What's keeping this board from sitting flat? Okay. So the BIOS area, it's going to show up right here. This could be a bad ROM, honestly. Yeah, the connection is there. That's just a sensor chip, it's not going to matter. Alright, so since all the rails are pulsing, do we get CPU V-core? Well, we're checking for a pulse on V-core. We know we're not going to actually get V-core. What are you? Alright, so let's check for a pulse on V-core. Nothing, that's not good. Nothing on phase 1. Nothing on phase 2. Nothing on phase 3. Missing component or removed. They're just test points, I think. Oh man, where do you start with this? Check the CPU if there is. Could be dead U7400. You know what? The ISL can do this. As crazy as it sounds, I don't know if it's communication-wise, but it looks horrible. I've had them cause quarter fan spin that drove me crazy and cause issues like that. So let's just put a new ISL on it and let's see what happens. I doubt it'll do anything, but at least we can rule it out. So if current sense is messed up, that could cause this, and you look at that, that just looks horrible. So let me measure these resistors. Ten ohms, 10 ohms. 20 ohms. Yeah, that's not it. But the trace was falling apart, so. Corrosion on those pads, yeah, but this isn't our issue. But, you know, how long does it take to change it? 2 minutes? It's going to be at least doing something, not just. fun. Occasional line down 1 pixel on your display. 81286. It depends. If your GPU is disabled and running off of Intel, I mean truly disabled, not just drivers, probably not the GPU, I think more a screen. Full brightness isn't going to hurt the screen, and if it does, it's going to hurt backlight, not image. The line would be LVDS related, if anything, not backlight. The backlight isn't even related to the image. It's just simply light. Looks good enough to me. We're going to get a little bit of fresh solder right here. Clean it up, put a fresh chip. So at least we can rule out this variable now, because this was bugging me that it could be this issue. So now we know. That it won't be, because we ruled it out. Plug it in, which I know we're not going to get a fan spin because the thing wasn't the issue, but as I suspected. No fan spin still, so this is the area that looks just as bad over here, so this is our next target over here. Maybe something with 5 volts is screwed up, I don't know. The thing with this power cycling, it could be literally anything. And by literally anything, I mean literally anything. So, just try it, you know. Oh, I did something very, very stupid. I didn't take the RAM out, and I reworked the board. That was stupid. So this area looks pretty corroded and nasty. Do I have this chip? Yep, alright. Too much to work on. I'm the same way right now. There's so much stuff, you know. It's like I'm gonna get a little break and then it's gonna be slammed again. I'll be slammed for if only they had postcodes. No, if only Paul Daniels coded his software to tell me what's wrong on the board. Lee, have you tried the Black Edition open board view yet? I don't know if Paul sent it to you yet or... Yeah, Chris Long hasn't streamed in ages. He's been pretty busy. Yeah, it's gonna be incredible when it comes out again. looks good. Let's try it. It's not going to work, but at least that's one thing ruled out. I kind of wish the ultrasonic cleaner would, if I put this in the cleaner, if it'll kind of break it so I could find what's wrong. I mean, knock off. No way. It was that. It was that chip. Look at that. Oh, well, sort of. Now, what is this nonsense? Spin then stop? Okay, so. What is that nonsense? Alright, that's progress. That makes me happy. What could be causing that around here? I don't know. What are you? Yeah, you know what? That spin stop thing, when it looks like this, you know, this is going to have no keyboard and trackpad and stuff, but this is probably going to work out of the ultrasonic cleaner fully. Let me just try something briefly because I see corrosion right here, but I'm sure there's corrosion under stuff, and let me just try and touch this up just a hair. This is another one that we had before. You know, I almost want to say that fan spin stop thing, I've seen that before, and it's current sense related. And then it's time for me to stop for the night. My hand's doing that. I almost want to say that spin stop thing is current sense because I've seen that before. I've seen that before. And I don't know. Let's see if that, no, I don't think it's that. Let's look at our other side of the board, the shunt resistor over here. This area. Oh, nothing abnormal there. Awesome progress. What I see, that was, I don't know, the one that creates a 5-volt rail. U7200. Could be in something in the U7200 area, but my guess is just corrosion. Let's try it one more time. Yep. Oh, I know why it's shutting off. I know exactly why it's shutting off. That's why. You need a heatsink. Let's just put a heatsink on. I'm not going to put paste. That's why it's shutting off. These Ivy bridges do get hot, so. Now the real question is, does it chime? And do I have a speaker? Yes, I do. If the fan does spin, we're going to put this in a case and we're going to see if this boots up. And where's the spring? Alright, so here's something really important on these. And I've killed CPUs like this. You see this heatsink, right? I thought one time, I'm just testing it. I don't need the other spring, and yes, you do. Here's a spring. This one will work. What it's going to do is it's going to push the heatsink against the capacitors and stuff on the CPU, and it's going to kill it. It's going to short it, and the CPU does not handle that well. The CPU is like a brain, so. Oh, you're not going to spin with the heatsink on now? Really? Not going to spin with the heatsink on? Why? Why aren't you going to spin with the heatsink on? Oh, don't even tell me it's a cracked ball under the CPU or something and putting pressure on it stops it from working. Let's try again. Without the heatsink. Without the heatsink, it's spinning. CPU gets quite warm too. Alright, this just screams broken trace in the board because we're putting pressure. Now, the way these are designed, how the screws anchor on the other side of the board, we're not only putting pressure on the CPU, we're putting pressure in the board too. So, let's see if we can't figure that out. I'll take this design any day over the ones with the grommets. Okay, so no, we're spinning now. Yeah, check that out. That is some quarter fan spin or power cycling fix nonsense, and this is interesting for me because I've never had U7200 cause quarter fan spin. Alright, so let's test this thing up. Do we get an image? Do we get a chime? Does it beep? Yeah, I use Amtech 559. It's by far the best thing you could use for this. It's not only good at making joints flow real nicely, it's really good at cleaning out corrosion and stuff. That's something that some fluxes don't do well. Some fluxes are really good at you know, making nice clean joints, but don't. Amtech just cleans out corrosion and just does a good job. Of course, that's just my preference, or it's just because I'm tired and I'm not making much sense. Close enough. Let's get the speaker. Put this off. Let's plug it in. Oh, come on, you're gonna spin. Yeah, this is random corrosion under something, causing it intermittently to spin. No, you don't spin. Okay, this board is weird. Let's unplug it again. Alright. I'll plug it in again. I'll just hold it. Oh, that's why. I think. The green light's having issues. It's dim and stuff like that. Alright, so we get a bright green light and a fan spin again. Put it back in an enclosure. And I know why that is. It's U6901 was corroded, so that's probably causing our issue there. That's going to go through after it gets tested, and then I'll change that. But let's put it in. Why is that sticking up? I hate reassembly. Especially on these A1286s, they're a pain. There we go. Alright, we get a fan spin. You heard that, and check this out. This is a 100% working, certified, refurbished MacBook Pro A1286, ready to go back to the customer. It's a quarter fan spin, and it's fixed. A learning experience for me too, because I've never had quarter fan spin do that. So let's just make sure it gets a question mark. And check that out, you can't see that. But there's a question mark there, trust me. Let me do this, then you'll probably be able to see it. Okay, no, I don't want to do that. Take my word for it. Or I could do this. Let me do this. Wow. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work, but I don't want the board to fall out. See that? That's a question mark. Okay, so I fixed the board. We fixed the board. We fixed a really miserable quarter fan spin issue. Never had U7200 do that. So, on top of that, we had one fix, one no fix, both miserable end of the pile boards, and they are both working. So, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. If you're another store interested in outsourcing logic board repairs, go to www.tcrscircuit.repair, and you can find all kinds of repair services there for parts, supplies, chips, chipsets, Flux, Ultrasonics, quick hot air stations. Go to www.store.rossmangroup.com. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.